This game of Commander is brought to you by Massacre Worm, the ultimate bear killer. Welcome to a game of Commander Usurper featuring Karador, Ghost Chieftain as the king. As a reminder, one other person is secretly a guard trying to protect the king, one person is a traitor who is trying to protect the king until the end of the game, and two assassins who are trying to kill the king as fast as possible. June goes first and keeps an opening hand of Wood Elves, Woodfall, Primus, Myojin Cleansing Fire, Revlark, Plains, Overgrown Tomb, and Orzhov Basilica. Chris goes next with an opening hand of Misty Rainforest, Manama School at Water's Edge, Cascade Bluffs, Izzet Charm, Obliterate, and 2 Snow Islands. Rob goes next with an opening hand of Mineral's Disc, Liliana Vest, Command Tower, Ichor, Wellspring, and Swamp. Ronnie goes next and keeps an opening hand of Strip Mine, Burnished Heart, Erebos, God of the Dead, Go for the Throat, Swamp, Reliquary Tower, and Increasing Ambition. I keep an opening hand of Aura Shards, Grave Pact, Mirari's Wake, God of the Shrine, Gavany Township, and 2 Forests. June starts the game by playing Plains, Chris plays Misty Rainforest, Rob plays Forest, Ronnie plays Swamp and Expedition Map. I play God of the Shrine, June shocks himself and plays Overgrown Tomb and casts Satyr Wayfinder, putting a Drifting Meadow into his hand. Chris sacks Misty Rainforest and puts Steam Vince into play. Chris plays Cascade Bluffs, Rob plays Forest and casts Ichor Wellspring, drawing a card. Ronnie plays Reliquary Tower, I play Mosswar Bridge and hide away a card. June plays Forest and casts Wood Elves and puts Temple Garden onto the battlefield. Chris plays Island, Rob plays Rupture Spire, Ronnie sacks his map and puts Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth into his hand. Ronnie plays Urborg and casts Burnished Heart. I play Forest and cast Aura Shards. June cycles Drifting Meadow. June plays Golgari Rothram and bounces Plains. Chris plays Island and waits one more turn before he can cast Jhoira and suspend a card in the same turn. Rob plays Command Tower and casts Navindral's Disc. Ronnie plays Swamp. I play Forest and cast Secure Tribal Builder, blowing up Rob's Navindral Disc with Aura Shards. June casts Acidic Slime, blowing up my shards, and then plays Orzhov Basilica. Chris plays Minamo, School of Water's Edge, and casts Jhoira. Rob plays Reliquary Tower and casts Liliana Vest. Rob next twos Liliana to put a card on top of his library. Ronnie sacks his Elk at the end of Rob's turn. Ronnie plays Strip Mine and casts Arcana Revenant. I sack Tribelt and put Plains onto the battlefield. I cast Mirari's Wake and play Terramorphic Expanse. June plays Plains and attacks Liliana with his creatures, killing it. June casts Silent Sentinel and passes. Chris suspends Obliterate at the end of June's turn and removes a time counter from it during his upkeep. Chris plays Mountain. Rob casts Glissa. In response, I sack my land, putting Swamp onto the battlefield. Ronnie attacks June with Revenant. June blocks with his Archon. Ronnie pumps the Revenant twice, killing the Silent Sentinel. Ronnie casts Erebos, God of the Dead, which will survive Obliterate. Ronnie plays Swamp and goes for the throat Jhoira. In response, Chris spends Omniscience and sends Jhoira back to the command zone. Ronnie casts Diabolic Revelation for 3. Chris counters the sorcery with Izzet Charm. I cast Ghave and then make a Saproling with Ghave's ability. I then play Gavany Township. June attacks Mr. Obliterate for 4 with his creatures. June plays Forest and then casts Myojin Cleansing Fire from hand, which means it gets a Divinity counter, providing an instant speed Day of Judgment with indestructibility until then. Chris removes time counters from his suspended cards and then plays Strip Mine. Rob casts Demonic Collusion and buys it back, discarding 2 cards. Ronnie plays Maga, Traitor, 2 Mortals, making June lose 13 life. Ronnie plays Swamp. At the end of Ronnie's turn, I remove 4 counters from Ghave, and in response, Chris strips my bridge. The hidden card was Austere Command, by the way. I cast Toothy Nail Entwined, finding Eternal Witness and Shieldred Whispering 1, and putting Crit Behemoth and Eternal Witness onto the battlefield. The Witness brings back Toothy Nail to my hand. I send everything at Chris, killing him. June plays Swamp and then attacks Ronnie with all his creatures. Ronnie's guys are tough enough to survive June's attack, but Ronnie does take 1 damage from the unblocked Wood Elves. June evokes Revlark, bringing back Satyr and Acidic Slime, blowing up Ronnie's Reliquary Tower. Rob plays Cabal Coffers and then casts Worst Fears, targeting me. Ronnie casts Increasing Ambition, finding a card. Ronnie casts Massacre Worm, and in response, June removes the Divinity counter from his Myojin, saving me a lot of life loss. Ronnie pays 6 life and draws 3 cards with Erebos. Rob takes my next turn and plays a Forest, casts Explore, draws a card, plays Twilight Mire, taps all my manas and casts Grave Pact and Toothy Nail Entwined, finding Elish Norn and Avenger of Zendikar and putting them onto the battlefield. Avenger gives me 8 plant tokens. If you're wondering why Rob played my turn the way he did, you will soon see. June cycles Tranquil Thicket at the end of my turn. June attacks Ronnie with his Myojin, which Ronnie blocks with Massacre Worm. June loses 2 lives when the Myojin dies, and then casts Unburial Rites, returning the Myojin to the battlefield. June is then reminded that the spirit will not get the Divinity counter because it was not played from hand. June plays Mosswar Bridge and then hides away a card, and then flashes Unburial Rites back, returning Revlark to the battlefield. Rob plays Urborg, activates Cabal Coffers, and casts Gilded Lotus and Demonic Collusion with buyback and casts Damnation. June loses 4 life, while I lose 20, which is pretty funny. June returns Acidic Slime and Satyr Wayfinder to the battlefield. Slime blows up Mirari's Wake. Ronnie plays Swamp and Kokosho the Evening Star. I play Shieldred Whispering 1, June sacks a creature during his upkeep and casts Fauna Shaman. June casts Woodfall Primus and destroys my Grave Pact. Rob plays Ancient Tomb and taps it, taking 2 damage and casts Demonic Collusion with buyback. Rob casts and activates Mind Saber targeting Ronnie. During Ronnie's upkeep, Rob sacrifices Ronnie's Kokosho, losing everyone 5 lives and gaining Ronnie 15. Rob plays Swamp and pays 2 life to draw a card. He does this 4 more times, paying a total of 10 life, and then strips my Gami Township. At the end of Ronnie's turn, Rob discards Ronnie's Grey Merchant of someplace. During my upkeep, I'll return a Vintage of Zenda card to the battlefield and make 7 plants. I cast a Farseek, putting Timber Garden onto the battlefield and pumping plants. June sacks Primus during his upkeep, persists the creature, and blows up Rob's Cabal coffers when it returns. June casts Phyrexian Delver, returning Massacre Worm to the battlefield. I lose 7 creatures and 14 life. June plays Sepulchral Primordial, returning Kokoshed from Ronnie's yard and Crater Hoof for mine. June attacks everything at Ronnie, dealing him 46 damage, killing him. Rob casts Gaze of Granite, destroying stuff with CMC 8 and below, killing me and drawing Rob a card with the Wellspring effect. Rob takes 2 damage from the Ancient Tomb. This leaves Rob and June against each other, meaning that Rob is the traitor. June casts Necromancy, returning Runescarred Demon to the battlefield. June finds Sadistic Hypnotist and sacks his demon to make Rob discard his hand. June casts his Commander. Rob deals himself 2 damage with the Ancient Tomb and casts Dreamstone Hedron. June casts Runescarred Demon from his graveyard with Karador, finding and casting Agent Erebos, exiling Rob's graveyard, and then attacks Rob for 5 damage, 3 Commander. Rob top decks all his dust, which is what Rob does best. June casts Life from the Loam, returning 3 lands to his hand. June plays a land and casts Angel of Serenity, exiling 3 creatures in his graveyard. Rob then top decks Bajuka Bog. June plays Isolated Chapel and attacks Rob for 5 with his Angel. June casts a Deadbridge Chant, forming a new graveyard. At the end of June's turn, Rob sacks Dreamstone Hedron and draws 3 cards. Rob casts Executioner's Capsule and Glissa. Rob takes 2 damage from Ancient Tomb. Rob casts Expedition Map and passes. At the end of Rob's turn, June cycles 3 lands. During his upkeep, June randomly adds Commune with the Gods to his hand from his graveyard with a bridge effect. June casts Commune with the Gods and adds Animate Dead to his hand, and then casts Animate Dead targeting Ashen Rider, exiling Glissa when it hits the battlefield. June attacks Rob for 5 with his Angel. Rob breaks Expedition Map at the end of June's turn, finding Buried Ruin, adding it to his hand. Rob plays Buried Ruin, returning a Dreamstone Hedron to his hand, and then casts it, paying 2 life with Ancient Tomb. June returns Blasted Landscape to his hand during his upkeep with the Bridge effect. June casts Crater of Behemoth and then attacks Rob for lethal, winning the game yet again for Karador and the King, only this time without the assistance of the guard, who was killed first. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, Priest is my bodyguard.
How do you know?
Because he had like Crater.
Oh no. Elish Norn, Avenger is on the card?
What?
What are you?
He's the troll.
With the bitch.
He's the troll. He's the troll.
He's under the bridge.
There should be, yeah. There should be an extra player called the troll.